Titans OTA takeaways coming up for you guys on today's show. But if you want a full-fledged winners and losers video, then just make sure you're subscribed. That video is coming very soon here on the channel, so don't miss out. Hit that sub button for free right now. OTA takeaways are coming up, but some news, a little bit older news from yesterday afternoon. Jaleel Johnson has signed with the Titans, quite literally a career journeyman defensive tackle. He'll fight for one of those last roster spots on the team. You know, this is not necessarily an instant impact player, but at a depth, at a spot where you always do want more depth. Falcons and Texans last year, only 9 games played, 12 games played back in 2021. 23 tackles. Did show some promise with the Vikings in 2020 and 2019. He also has spent 2 different stints with the Saints. That's why you see his jersey. It was the last photo day he took part in. But he didn't play any games. So it's a hodgepodge of true journeyman situations there for Jaleel Johnson. All right, on to the takeaways. I remember doing these videos this time last year of like, hey, Treylon Burks doesn't look that great. He's battling asthma. He's not out there very much. We're a little worried about the instant impact for a team that needs the impact. Well, that's not the case this year. Everything out around Burks has been very positive, very praiseworthy, very upward trend for a player that the Titans quite simply really, really, really need to be out there and making a big-time impact for this team. They need Burks. All of the buzz at this stage appears to be good as it relates to Burks and the situation. That was not the case last year. It's very funny to sit back and reflect a year later and go, man, there was not some, a lot of people upset about the way we're mentioning Burks and the concerns, which, yeah, somewhat came true from the on-field perspective. But things not going that way this year. Here's what Burks has said. I feel faster because I can breathe. I didn't go to training at the beach or anything. I stayed here. I wanted to stay around the facility to make a connection with the coaches, but also to get ahead on things. I love hearing that from Treylon Burks. We can call year one a bit of a disappointment. 444 yards is not what you're aiming for a rookie receiver who, fair or not, was being counted on to replace A.J. Brown. That was the goal, the expectation, as, Robert Woods didn't have the best impact either. The offense struggled in general. Quarterback play to be blamed as well. But even more so this year, the passing offense, plus Chico Conquo, but at receiver, is going to be built around Burks. There, it's Nick Westbrook-Keenan, Kyle Phillips in the slot, some Racey McMath. It's not a standout group, if we're being quite honest. It's just not. So the Titans are banking heavily on Burks showing up this upcoming season. Now, who here thinks that the Burks breakout is going to happen this year? I know I certainly do. If you agree, type in me in the comment section. Bonus points if you type it in like 5, 6, however many times you want to do it in there. If the ad break comes on YouTube, it's a great time to go do it. Type in your me's in the comment section for me right now if you believe the Treylon Burks breakout is going to come this year for the Tennessee Titans. Flood the comment sections with all your me's. Here at the pin com, by the way, especially if the ad break comes here on the YouTube side of things. Let's break down the latest now on Will Levis, as this has, perhaps understandably, expectedly, been a bit up and down so far. The touch throws in particular, which were not his best at Kentucky either, seem to be the main cause of concern right now for Levis early on. Inconsistency has been a popular word I've seen thrown around out there from the various Titans media reporters present. And that's frankly okay. It is May. I don't want to cause panic of, oh my God, the second round pick isn't the instant starter. That's okay. That's fairly expected as far as I'm concerned. I'm not overly concerned about it as we sit currently with Will Levis. There are the flashes of the big arm, the arm strength, the velocity that the ball comes off his hands with, and even just the athletic ability, being able to run in a not really run-geared situation. It was always going to be about patience. This was never going to be an instant, oh my God, he is the next Peyton Manning overnight deal. That's not the goal for Levis. It's, a bit of a longer-term play. So patience is key there, but there is still a chance that Levis starts a game this year. Do you think that ends up happening? 1 for yes or 0 for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section. Does Will Levis end up starting a game for the Tennessee Titans? Any game, can be the final game of the season. Sound off in that comments. 1 for yes or 0 for no. I'll also make note here, by the way, on one Ryan Tannehill, as we talk about quarterbacks in general, continues to look sharp. Not overly surprised there either. He drew rave reviews last year. On-field results, in part because of injury, didn't appear to be the same outcome in the end, unfortunately. But OTAs, the not really facing pressure, fits Tannehill's game very well. Now, if you want to support Will Levis, you can get his rookie jersey today. I know you see the 00 on there. It's a placeholder. Fanatics has not fully updated all of the numbers because, well, rookies change their jerseys. Second-round pick, not as big of a priority for them. It'll be the right number. Be number 8. Get yours today, chatsports.com/Levis jersey. To the defensive side of the football now, Kevin Byard is not present at this stage of OTAs, which has caused, I've seen the headlines of, hold out, Kevin Byard, they wanted a pay cut, he's mad. I don't believe that to be the case right now, and that's not what Mike Vrabel believes. Here's what the coach had to say. There's been years where KB hasn't been here. I know he's working hard, and we're staying in contact with him. Met with him on Zoom and to get the installation. I'm not concerned about KB and his level of fitness and commitment. That is not a concern. He has a family. He's an established player. We want them all to be here, but it's voluntary. There were years where I didn't go in New England. You communicate, and he's communicated. I am very, very confident when KB comes back, he'll be in shape and be ready to go, and he'll know what to do, and he'll be the same great teammate he always is. I do still believe Kevin Byard is one of the best safeties in the entire NFL. I thought it was kind of weird the Titans asked him to take a pay cut. He was right to say no, by the way, and that Tennessee hasn't done anything with him so far makes me think that they're not going to do anything rash like cut one of their best defensive players. I would not be a fan of that move. I'm a big fan of what Kevin Byard has to offer on the defense side of the football. I have no real concerns, much like Mike Vrabel, about his potential impact or whatever, just because he's, a little bit delayed from that perspective. All right, so does Kevin Byard skipping OTAs bother you? You can be honest with me. It is voluntary, but you do always want them there. Y for yes, N for no. Does Kevin Byard not being present at the voluntary portion of organized team activities bother you at this stage? You can go ahead and get your votes in. Where else but the comment section? Y for yes, N for no. Vet skipping don't really bother me. If you're coming off injury or if you're just old, by NFL terms, Byard's only 29. I'm actually older than him, which I hate saying out loud because I'm calling him old here. But that stuff doesn't concern me. He knows what the defense is. He knows what he has to do. I have no concerns about these types of players, these vets, these established guys, skipping the voluntary portion of OTAs. It's not like they're doing that much for their age group anyway. Now, speaking of safeties, Elijah Molden is getting run at the safety spot, which I'm quite intrigued by and curious how this all plays out in the short term and the long term for Tennessee. Safety in general is a spot Tennessee is thin at. Here's what Mike Vrabel explained it as. It'll be good for him and help him expand that role and expand his versatility. He can still come down and play nickel, and he was our personal protector on the punt team today. Those three are valuable roles for a young defensive player. We need every player that we can get out there healthy and being able to use that versatility. I do think it is the versatility angle and the health angle too that's at play here. You look at what the Titans have in the secondary. I was hyped about him last year. Did not live up to it. Caleb Farley remains injured. You have Christian Fulton. More on him in a little bit, by the way. Sean Murphy-Bunting. I loved Roger McCreary coming out of Auburn. He can play your nickel, and maybe you make Elijah Molden, just as a hypothetical here, your super dime defender, where he can play nickel corner when you go with 4 corners. If you want to go with the third safety in general, Molden can play that role as well. And I would trust Molden at safety. God forbid Amani Hooker or Kevin Byard get hurt, knock on wood, a lot more than Josh Thompson or Mike Brown. So I think that makes sense for the Titans to kind of cross-train Molden at safety, knowing he can also play nickel corner as well. Two more rapid-fire notes. Jeffrey Simmons, this might come as a shock to you guys watching, looks awesome. Very high praise from OTAs, making life tough on the offensive line. That's a good thing. I think Simmons will continue to be one of the best young, if not the best, defensive tackle in the entire NFL. And then Christian Fulton also returned to Titans OTAs. He missed the first week. He was not on the practice day, but was in the building. So check off that box for Fulton being back at OTAs this week for Tennessee.